Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. Each week, host Bryan O'Rourke brings you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse for what matters most for your business in the age of exponential technologies.
Hello, listeners, and thanks for joining. I'm your host, Bryan O'Rourke, and today we have a special guest, Hans Muench, a dear friend who many of you know. We're going to visit about a number of subjects. I hope you enjoy the interview, but before we invite Hans on, I'd like to mention that we'll be at the HFNA, Health and Fitness Association. I'm still trying to get my head straight on that after describing it as URSA for so many decades. And that event will have the FitC reception Tuesday night. You can see the link in the show notes. And of course, I'll be at the core booth Thursday and Friday. So please stop by and say hello. I'd love to see you. And then at FIBO, and Hans will mention at FIBO, of course, I'll be at the core booth. And Hans will be conducting a great panel on Friday afternoon. He'll go into the details on that during the pod. So we hope we see you there. So without further ado, let's invite Hans to the show. Hello, listeners. We have the infamous Hans on the line. Hans, you joining us from your home in Switzerland today?
Yes, indeed, in winter tour.
Now, I saw your post. I always love seeing your post with your travels and all your exploits, visiting leaders in the space around the world. And most recently, I saw your post with a visit in Poland. Is that right?
Yes, in December, I was actually in Poland 4 times, in Warsaw twice, in Poznan, and in Wrocław. Did an article for Body Media magazine, which is in the current edition, met the number 1 player in the Polish market, benefit systems, and other club operators, suppliers, and had a wonderful time there. It's a very nice country. It was very cold, but it was nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. And the market in Poland has really matured in the last 10 years. I mean, it's grown quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, the 2 top players have together over 400 clubs. So there's been some consolidation as well as in many places.
Yes. It's a great story, what's happened in Poland with the fitness industry in general, and great people. I've had the pleasure of being in Poland only once before, but I really enjoyed my time there. So, of course, we have first the HFA show in Vegas, which you're going to be attending, and that's next week. And we have the FitC event at the Mandalay. The notes, show notes will have how to RSVP for that. Hans, you're going to be there with us. I look forward to that Tuesday night.
And before that, on Thursday, I will be in Munich for the EGIM event at the BMW World, where 1,200 people are expected. And they've already secured, I think, 800 tickets for a basketball game at the SAP Arena that evening. And I was not quick enough to go and get one of those tickets, but I have 2 grown kids in Munich, so I'll be visiting them and having dinner with them instead of going to watch basketball.
Outstanding. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that event. That's a big event. I know Core's participating in that, I'm pretty sure, as well as a lot of people. And then we have upcoming our favorite event in Cologne, FIBO, next month. And I know you want to talk about an event Friday afternoon on April 11th from 3 to 4, and you're going to be conducting a panel, right, with sponsored by FitC. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, coming off the heels of my being the moderator of the HFA European Congress International Fitness Franchise Panel, I'm happy to have a few dignitaries join me for an hour talking about the world of what fitness and all its various components, specifically in Europe, but not limited to Europe.
Yeah, that you always do very well at those, and I know that We're going to have some yet to be announced but well-recognized leaders out of Europe on this panel, which will focus on entrepreneurship, technology, and that is really a new area in Convex, from what I understand, on new tech and entrepreneurship, an area of the show that we'll be participating in. And I know we can't reveal some of the folks that are coming quite yet because we're finalizing our thoughts, but I would recognize and recommend for our listeners to stay tuned. There'll be some announcements in the near future. As well, we always love to go to the European Health and Fitness Forum, which is the day before FIBO kicks off. An outstanding event. We will have links in the show notes below as well on that, so that we can, make you aware of how to participate in that if you haven't already. Really looking forward to those events altogether. Great show. How long have you gone to FIBO? It was in Essen before in the original days, right? But how many years has it been since you've been there?
Well, the first FIBO, I believe, was in 1986, and my first FIBO was 1987. And this will be, I think, my 37th or 38th FIBO. If you include other FIBO events in Basel and Nuremberg, it's number 40.
Wow, that must be a record, Hans. I mean, you must have started your travels to the FIBO event when you were 5 years old.
I resemble that remark, yes.
That's great. It's going to be great to see you. What other observations do you have now that we have that out of the way? What are you seeing in Europe a lot since you've been traveling around? Is there anything that's kind of sticking out in your mind with regard to developments in the industry space in Europe?
Well, certainly the buzz has been about ChatGPT, and that has revolutionized how people do workflow.
Yep.
And I use it every day. And when I talk to operators, they're using it constantly. Their team is using it. They're saving time. They're being smarter and not just assuming that they know something. They're fact checking themselves. And it's just the first of many things out there that are going to become very quickly the mainstream, where we didn't hear about it 2 years ago. And who knows, in 3 or 5 years, there'll be things that will blow our mind that we don't even know exist.
That's right. Agentic is the new thing, as you know, is operator and agents, and that's going to really transform a lot of business. And especially because labor is such a challenging aspect of the industry space, then that deft integration of really well-developed technology with super talent is going to be, I think, the linchpin, kind of the secret sauce to the best operators in the world. Would you agree?
Yes, and the fact that people are saving a lot of time and actually improving the quality of work with that should theoretically make people happier, more time to exercise, and more time to do important things that they didn't get around to doing.
Yes, I agree with that. I think the same. Even in our company, we're changing a bunch of things around this, and we've been working on this in our marketing firm and all of our businesses since it came out. So it's been a few years now. And I find it interesting as well. People speak about technology and the advancement of technology, which is true, but it's really about the advancement of the humans using technology and the way they think about problems and the way they become more creative if they learn to use it. A lot of people still don't know how to use Google properly today. So there will be a separation, I think, between those that are flirting with these technologies and those that really understand how to leverage them for the right reasons and in the right way. Are you seeing that with certain organizations that you're talking to?
An example, Martin Seibold, who was on the agenda for the European Congress in Barcelona in October, said, and it begins at the top, he said, we want more interaction. Our data is showing that if people come more regularly, they stay longer, which is a more profitable client. So
Yes.
you set up our tech that if somebody hasn't come in 14 days, they get a message. If they don't come another 7 days, it's the next level and the next level. And they say that it's not considered to be salesy, but it's considered to be, hey, they really are interested in me. And because of that, I'm coming more often, and I appreciate the value proposition because they're really trying to engage with my commitment to my commitment.
Yes, that's just the beginning of it too, as you know, but that's a great example, and that's just the beginning. I think what you're going to start seeing is shared data to where it's not just about your time in the club and not just about, showing your intention to be of service, but then also knowing member information, being able to be very specific and personalized at a very high level with respect to, hey, if you can't make it into the next 3 days, try to do these things while you're out, or here's this, or where you're really going to get incredible personalization. I see that coming for the operators that really want to focus on that. It's just a fascinating time to be in the space when you have these potential opportunities in redefining experience.
Yes, and I was reviewing the podcast I did when I was in Poland and talking about what longevity means and the opportunity for our sector to be going deeper and richer into people's lives. And obviously, if people are coming 2 or 3 times to the club, that's great. But that also means that there's a lot of hours where they're not with us. And if we can be in their hearts and minds and in their habits that we've helped them form, we will win because they will reach their goals. And that will be, the measure of, was it worthwhile to engage with this club or this company?
Yes. Have you used Notebook yet? Google's product? Are you familiar with that?
No, but I am speaking to you from my notebook, but I don't think that's what you mean.
No, I would recommend, we'll put the link in the show notes, everyone, in how to use that tool, which is really, there's one aspect of that that's tremendously powerful, where you set up a notebook, you feed it all the information, website links, documents, whatever you have. And one of the features of this tool that Google provides, and it's free with a Google account, free, is you can create an automatic AI podcast that sounds very real, that summarizes the entire content of the information you're sharing. So that's one tidbit. I would recommend people look into that. There are so many incredible tools. And of course, you've probably seen Sora. We're using Sora for content now and video. We're using a lot of different products in this regard to this technology. And wow. That's all I can say. And I love it, Hans, because I don't know if you were at the European Health and Fitness Forum where I was on stage maybe 8 years ago, and I told people this is coming, and I got laughed off the stage. I mean, that really was funny.
Yeah, you were 5 to 8 years ahead of your time. I don't know if that window has shortened or extended.
Well, I've been deliberately quiet about a number of things because everyone now jumps on the speaking circuit to talk about AI. And I feel like crowding that out would be not adding value. So in fact, in the next 6 to 9 months, I'm coming out with a whole other slew of things that I hope will be more, the audience will find more digestible. It's kind of like, trying to explain something, to somebody that knows nothing about it. The more people get into it, the more it's easy to contextualize sharing information that can be impactful. But it is an awesome time. And I'm so glad you're out there in Europe sharing your insights with everyone. I always enjoy seeing what you're doing. And it's just a great thing to follow you on LinkedIn and the other platforms.
Well, I love to, be in connection with you. And that's one reason why I'm involved with the FitC. 2.5 weeks ago, I was at an event and somebody came up to me and said, I remember that you showed me those glasses where you can take pictures and listen to, your navigation and music on it. And you see, I bought the same glasses and they're great. And, we're helping each other find the best things.
Yes. And for a lot of people, because it's confusing, a lot of people, you can hear information. Navarre's recent book, Nexus, talks about information networks and, how, truth is much more difficult to present truth and fact than information in general, because so much of it is junk. And so I think people are very confused about what it is that they can really rely on as being real or not. Today, it's more and more. So, yeah, I find a lot of value in that. And I also always enjoy when I can get on the phone or see people in person at events to have them ask me questions to put those things in context, because people need context a lot right now.
Yes, and this was my first time in January to attend the Consumer Electronics Show in
Mhm,
Vegas,
mhm.
at the insistence of Vincenzo, who has been there many years, and he held my
Yeah.
hand and showed me where to go and accompanied me, which you need because I was way out of my
Yes.
comfort zone with that. But although
Yeah.
there was very little fitness, there was a lot of health.
Yes.
GLP-1 podium discussions, constant glucose monitoring. These are things that are changing the whole equation.
Yes, absolutely true. And it's very exciting times. As we've said before, the greatest business models and innovations haven't been invented yet. So I can't wait for the next 5 to 7 years, because I think a lot is going to happen that's going to really be very positive to the growth in general of people's awareness of how to live healthier and longer in quality life using these tools that are going to become increasingly more intuitive. So Hans, I'm looking so forward to seeing you next week in Las Vegas. And of course, thank you for hosting the panel at FIBO. Listeners, we are going to be sharing links in the show notes, and then also follow us on LinkedIn or all of our platforms, the Fitness Industry Technology Council, because we'll be updating who the panelists will be that Hans will be talking to and further information around the events. Thank you, Hans, for spending time today. It's always wonderful to chat with you and catch up.
It's a pleasure and an honor to spend time with you, Bryan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, listeners. This is Bryan O'Rourke, and thanks so much for listening to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. The podcast is made possible by the Fitness Industry Technology Council, a consortium of global brands working together to enhance the adoption of technologies in the fitness space. Our company, Videri Ventures, which is invested in Vertimax, Montezuma, Gold's Gym, Houston, Texas, and Fitness 24/7 Thailand, also underwrites the podcast, along with our service companies, Integris Advisors, Moon Mission Media, and others. Please feel free to share this podcast with your colleagues. And if I can be of any assistance to you, don't hesitate to reach out, bryank.o'rourke@gmail.com, or find me on any of the major social networks. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.